I, 23F, think I have found my 21M brother who ran away from home 9 years ago, and we never found him, and I don't know how to approach him in case it's not him. So, a little background. My younger brother ran away from home when I was 14. Apparently my mother beat him very hard and much and told him to go away, and he's not her child anymore after he broke a new TV while playing football in the house. She says she didn't mean it and was just disciplining him and said that in the heat of the moment. My brother was always one of those troublesome kids. Carefree, little too much adventurous, but he had a good heart and I loved him very much. At first, we thought he would just come back. Then hours went by and we started to get worried. After a day with him not coming back, we started to search for him. We asked around, called the cops, and filed a missing persons report. We searched for him for a long time and never found him. His disappearance tore my family apart. My dad blamed my mom, and they divorced shortly after my 15th birthday. The relationship between my grandparents and mom also deteriorated. So, fast forward to about a month ago, and I got a job as an intern at a logistic company in my country. I am an assistant as a driver dispatcher. One of the driver's names caught my attention a week ago. It was exactly the same as my brother's. The driver came back about 3 days ago from his shipment, and I've been kind of observing him, and he kind of looks like my brother. He resembles my dad, and I don't know if I am the one who's making this observation because I want to, or if the resemblance is actually there. Now I have been sleepless for days, wondering if I should approach him. What if it's not him? I am a shy person and not really good with people. Will he think I'm crazy? Should I at least do some more homework before I approach him? And what if it is him? How would I tell my parents? Also, just to clarify, when he left, I was still at school when it happened, and my dad was still at work. That's when we came home to find him gone. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "Yes, he ran away from your mother, not you. But you are willing to face the possibility of him hating everyone. The big sister who did not protect him, the father who allowed his wife to hurt him." I actually came back from school to find my mom still furious. That's when about an hour later, she started to get worried, and my dad was still at work by then. Sorry if I didn't clarify in the original post. I will update that now. Then user 2 commented and said, "Before you approach him, stop victim blaming him." I am not victim blaming. I was just giving a description of who he is to get a little insight. He got into a lot of trouble, even at school and with neighbors, and I had to defend him sometimes at school and even at home. I know it might sound like I'm victim blaming, but let me explain this in a way where I don't sound like that. He liked having fun and taking the risk to chase that adrenaline sometimes. Those impulsive decisions weren't really the best or have the best outcomes. Then user 3 commented and said, "I'm curious to know, how does your mom feel about the disappearance of her son years later now? Does she blame herself? Does she know what she did?" My mom fell into a depression. She still blames herself even now. Plus, she also lost a lot of people in her family, and almost everyone blames her. We had an argument one time, and she said if she could take it all back in a heartbeat, that she would. I almost feel sorry for her. Update. So, some of you wanted an update, and here it is. So, I approached him a day after the post using some of the ways you suggested, and it went better than I had anticipated. He recognized me before I could even tell him everything I had rehearsed. Apparently, he looked me up online, and since I have very little going on any social media except for lurking on Twitter and Reddit, he could hardly find anything concrete. So, the only pictures of me he could find were from my best friend's Instagram post from a couple of months ago. And apparently he knew her and they were kind of friends. I asked why he didn't reach out, and well, he said that he was afraid that I was mad at him and will never forgive him for running away and leaving me. I was completely taken aback by that because I never saw it that way. I was a bit mad having me worried about him for years, but finding him alive and well is completely dwarfing any anger, sadness, or disappointment that I had. And for those of you who may wonder what happened after he left home, it has not been easy for him. Being homeless, abusing drugs, dealing drugs, serving jail time a couple of times, depression, thoughts of taking his own life. But it all worked out for him when an old family in a charity program found him at 16 and helped him out. He didn't want to come back, but he was forced to deal drugs. It's a common thing in my country where young kids, either orphans or abducted, are forced to sell drugs. As for now, well, we've been hanging out a lot. There have been a lot of tears, catching up to do. He was also asking about my dad because he had tried to look him up too, but he left the country a few years back with his new wife and kids, but he is not ready to face my brother just yet. As for my mom, he said he forgives her, but he doesn't want to see her yet. I am just glad I met my family. Thanks to all of you who gave me advice. So, they hadn't seen each other in almost a decade, and they were kids when they last saw each other, or teenagers, and now they're full-grown adults and were staring at each other from afar like that Shane meme from The Walking Dead, and was like, yep, that's my sister. I think that's my brother. I love that. And here OP was ready for some confrontation and had this whole thing prepared. He's just like, yeah, I knew it was you, but I had tremendous guilt. And then OP was like, no, don't feel guilty. I missed you, my brother, so much. Yeah, and as for, meeting the parents, hopefully they had come to some sort of resolution. It seems like the biggest problem or the biggest hurdle or obstacle is the mother. But like the brother said, he forgives her, but he's just not ready to see her yet. And I'm sure, despite the mom saying something terrible, regrets that every day for the past 9 years. So I don't know what she's gonna feel. Maybe we'll get an update on that. But I'm just glad that the brother was found. But anyway, next story. Story number 2. Am I the a-hole for not attending the wedding of my cousin and my ex-boyfriend? I, 32F, was engaged to marry Travis, 33M, but a couple of weeks before the wedding was supposed to take place, he said that he didn't want to get married. I asked him if he was cheating, and he said no. He told me that most of his friends were already marrying or starting families, so he thought it was time to settle down. But he had just realized that he didn't want to do that. Suffice to say, the wedding was canceled, and that was the end of our relationship. It's been about a year since that happened. Things haven't been exactly great, but I've managed. Well, some days ago, I received an invitation to the wedding of my cousin Taylor, 26F. And imagine my surprise when I read it and saw that my ex-fiancé was the groom. I had only seen them barely interact during family meetings. I hadn't noticed any clue that pointed to anything happening between the two of them all this time. Some info about my cousin. She is what some people would call a free spirit. She doesn't have a conventional job. She works as an artist. She dyes her hair in unusual colors, sometimes blue, sometimes green, for example, and dresses extravagantly. One time, she wore a white robe. Another time, she wore a black leather jacket and spiked boots. She says that she doesn't like following society's rules and that she only follows her own code. Immediately, I called my parents and I asked them if they had known something about Taylor's relationship with Travis. To summarize, yes, they did. They hadn't intended on telling me because they figured out there would be no positive outcome to it. But they also made it clear that they expected me to come to the wedding anyway in order to show support to my family. At this point, I lost it and shouted that they were delusional if they believed I would go to the wedding of my cheating liar ex and his manic pixie dream girl. They said that I can't keep holding on to my hatred and resentment forever and that I need to let go. But I hung up the phone. My extended family has been blowing up my phone since then, saying that I am a bad person if I don't attend. Right now, I feel so confused, betrayed, and disappointed. I'm no longer sure if I'm being irrational or not. So, I think it might be best to ask for an outside point of view. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. Holy crap, I can't believe it. I go away for a few hours and find so many comments. To clear up some questions, the main reason I doubted was because my family is tight-knit and traditional, and my parents raised me to believe that family comes before everything else. But y'all helped me realize that my feelings are valid. Thank you, everyone. Update. 6 days later. Hi, it's me again. Thanks to everyone who commented on my first post. Some people asked for an update, and here you have it. I've read all of your comments, and I've got to say, the ones who gave me tips on how to be petty made me laugh. But after thinking about it, I decided to simply not attend the wedding. I will also be distancing myself from my parents and extended family, at least for a while for the former, and definitely for the latter. I also told my friends about the whole situation, and they were even more pissed off than some of you. I told them about the suggestions that some commenters made about going on vacation during the week of the wedding, and we've already started making plans. Something else also happened in the last few days. I received a call from Travis. He asked me if we could talk. I know it was probably stupid of me, but I accepted. We met in a public place, and I told him I wanted to know exactly what was going on between him and Taylor. This is what he told me. First, he made sure to emphasize that he had never cheated on me. Not sure if I believe him, but I let him talk. He told me he too felt bad about our relationship's end. That on a night out, he just happened to end up in the same place as my cousin. They started talking, one thing led to another, and he proceeded to have a middle-age crisis with her. The only reason he's getting married to her is because she's pregnant, and he was afraid that she would just run away and he'd never get to meet his child. After that talk, we went our separate ways. He wished me good luck, and I said the same. As soon as I came back home, I blocked his number. So at the end of the day, I'm left with more questions than answers. But whatever, that's no longer my problem. Anyway, this is it. I don't think I'll be posting on this account again. Once again, thank you so much for your support when I needed it. Story number 3. I think my boyfriend might be hitting me in his sleep on purpose. How common is this? 2 nights ago, I got fed up after he smacked me for the third time after about 1, maybe 2 hours of sleep. I woke him up and said if he keeps doing it, he has to go home. And suddenly it doesn't happen the rest of the night or last night either. Maybe I'm overthinking it and he really does just flail his arms around in his sleep, but I've noticed he only flails the arms that's on the side I'm sleeping on. This has probably happened 10 times over 7 months, but I've never really said anything until now. So Reddit, I have to ask, has this happened to you before? Does your partner also accidentally smack you in their sleep? He is a long person and can be used to laying his arms out and I'm just in the way. But part of me wonders if it's another weird control thing, because he has a lot of issues with lying that we are working on. Then part of me wonders if I'm just so distrusting that I think he's trying to hurt me even in his sleep. Do I sound paranoid? How common is this when sleeping with a guy? Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "I've never heard of that. Have you had an argument or disagreed on something the day before? Is there anything specific that happens on the days before the arm flailing ensues?" I started noticing when stuff got rocky and we were arguing a lot. We were together 6 months, off for a few, and just recently got back together. He just started sleeping at my house again. We've been talking a lot about why he lies, and he agrees he has issues with control. The conversations have been really good, and I see him trying, but I also imagine he probably feels vulnerable and more powerless with the talks that we've been having. So I worry he could be pretending to be asleep and effing with me as a dominance thing. Then user 2 commented and said, "My girlfriend's arms float up to her head when she sleeps, and in the middle of the night, she drops her elbows on me. Pointy elbows. She's cracked me in the nose and eye socket with no clue that she is doing it. These days, we have a pillow buffer zone. And it never happened since. We've been sharing a bed for years now. She's not abusive, we just had to figure out a way around it. I'm not saying this is exactly your case, but it's just food for thought. Good luck, OP." That is exactly what he does. Raises them above his head and smacks me on the way down or up. And I am always cuddling closely. If I put a pillow, it wouldn't be a problem. I really think it could be accidental, but it's hard given the circumstances to sort out if I'm being manipulated or not. Thank you for the insight. Then user 3 commented and said, "I guess a good way for you to test your fears is, does it happen when you're awake and he is asleep? I am usually late to fall asleep. I'll be fiddling on my phone for a while before passing out. So I've seen firsthand that she is cold asleep when it happens. Perhaps you do the same for a few nights? Watch some YouTube or whatever and watch it happen. As for the other stuff, you need to decide if it's worth your time or not. It's not easy to give advice from a distance, but I wouldn't pretend to know your relationship. Good luck with your experiment and come back with your results when you know. I'm sure lots of people would like to hear the outcome." Yes, always. That's why I've noticed it so much. He sleeps early/wakes up early for work, and I go to bed late, and sometimes take hours to fall asleep. He is always snoring and appears to be out, but I have convinced myself that he could be fake snoring. So either he is a master manipulator or I am paranoid. Obviously, someone being manipulated would say this, but I do think I am being paranoid. I've seen this guy come over and sleep for hours in the middle of the day. He falls asleep at the snap of a finger. If I'm being logical, there's no way he has the ability to fake snore long enough to get away with hitting me. Then OP provided more information in the comments section and said, "His brain is also recovering from drugs, so it's a complicated situation. I don't want to fix him, but if he's going to therapy, I would like to support him through it. And he's very recently got health insurance, so he can go. I've seen him trying, but the trust was broken, so it's hard to believe if he genuinely wants better. Just takes time to see which direction things will go. He was a few months sober when he moved in, and then he relapsed when we were not together. He is 12-ish days sober now, hopefully. Overall, I think the problem originally was he moved in directly from sober living with me, a new alcoholic in denial, so it got very messy and codependent. We probably shouldn't be dating now either and should both be focusing on sobriety. He at least definitely isn't going to move back in, and I'm glad we're both on the same page with that. We've only been back together for some days now and are still seeing what happens. Update. I told him about the Reddit post and said I think the real issue is that I've become this distrusting of him due to his lies and odd behavior. And what does he do to mend it? Nothing. I can't change him or make him see the light. He stopped hitting me the next 2 nights, but he kept doing other manipulative behavior. He always stops replying or talking to me for days if I want to talk about heavy relationship stuff, like questioning when he's going to be able to pay me back the $1,000 he owes me. He lost his ID, so he gave me $50 to go to the dispensary for him, which really hurt my feelings because he has money for frivolous things but hasn't started paying me back at all. I speak up on this and he shuts it down. I used to pay for everything for him, so I was bringing up my worries about being used. He tells me he doesn't want a relationship with constant communication. Trust me, I am not so clingy in texting him constantly, but when my feelings are hurt, I do expect the issue to be discussed before we go to sleep each night, and he doesn't believe that's necessary. I also want to add that this conversation happened on the first day of his new job. He had no obligations making him unable to chat. Supposedly, he was just at home playing video games. He believes it's normal not to speak for days, so I will forget the issue and keep my mouth shut. Whenever he does decide to talk again, we never discuss the issue, and we only make up if I let it go and then shut up about it. He's repeatedly given blanket apologies with no detail, remorse, or responsibility, and I stupidly accept it. He always says, "I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say." I am done. So many guys out there, and I for some reason thought this was the only love I'm good enough for. I am absolutely done. I'm moving out on the 1st, and he is never coming into my new home. Thank you guys for helping me see that I'm better than this, and it's not my fault that I can't change him. It was never love, just dependency and dominance. I'm mostly typing this for myself. I am done. If I want better, I can have better. If I want to be trash, I can stay with trash. Now, here are some more relevant comments. User 1 said, "Girl, what? This guy wants a bang maid who funds his lifestyle. He doesn't want a partner or a relationship. He just wants to F around whenever he wants and plays video games while someone else foots the bill. He's abusive in many ways, it seems. I'm glad you're finally starting to see that you deserve better. Someone who treats you like a human being instead of an ATM. It's crazy because I wasn't even a bang maid. I don't think he was sexually attracted to me. He barely wanted sex and had issues staying hard and finishing. I tried to figure out if it's me. I asked about kinks, tried to solve it. He recently said he might be asexual, but he was paying for Tinder and Hinge a couple of months ago into dating, and was recently sleeping with his ex again too. So it feels like he wasn't sexually satisfied with me. I don't know. Maybe he viewed me more as a mom. Definitely didn't treat me like a partner. It has been almost a year total of this. He first left me on Christmas Eve and ignored me for months and then came back with a huge blanket apology. It's been on and off since then. He took months to admit it, still using fentanyl. He already gave me genital herpes and lied to me about not having slept with anyone since we've been together when he's been sleeping with the same girl again that he got herpes with originally, through a threesome. This guy is an effing joke. It's far more than a few minor hiccups. He is a lying addict that has no desire to change. He has to hit rock bottom on his own time. Okay, everybody, say it with me. It starts with a TH. Therapy! Thankfully, though, OP seems to have realized that, hey, this is not a person that is good for her. She's not in a good situation. This guy barely even likes her, and she's like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm gone. And usually, sometimes we get stories like this, and it takes a little while longer, but in a couple of updates. But she was just like, hey, new update. I'm out of here. This guy sucks. He's got to hit rock bottom, and I'm not doing that with him. So I'm going to go improve my life. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm probably not going to get my $1,000 back, but at least I don't have that leech on my back. So good for OP. And as for the ex, he's, like she said, he's got to hit rock bottom. Unfortunately, maybe as we've all learned at some point in life, that we can't help people change until they want to change. It's a tough thing. So unfortunate for that guy, but he's got to do his own thing, and OP's going to do her own thing. But anyway, next story. Story number 4. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my brother's girlfriend because she is trying to get rid of me? As the title says, I, 15F, think my brother's girlfriend, Julie, 24F, is trying to get rid of me. I live with my brother because after my parents divorced, none of them wanted me. So my brother took me when he was 18. I was 8 at the time. We lived alone together until a year ago, he got a girlfriend. She doesn't live with us, but she is at our apartment a lot. I don't really like her, but I already know he kind of has some resentment towards me because he had to take care of me even when my parents were still together, and he couldn't have a life because he was always busy with me. As for my brother and his girlfriend, I think they want to get married, and I'm scared about where I will go. My mom doesn't live in the country. She went back to Korea after the divorce, and my dad is busy with his new family. Anyways, after school, I wanted to use my brother's phone to watch something. I saw a notification come up at the top, and it was from my mom. I was really curious because I don't talk to my mom like ever, and I didn't think he did either. Long story short, he wants to send me to live with my mom in Korea because Julie wants to move in and start a family. She said that when they start their family, they don't want to be looking after a teenager as well. I didn't tell him anything and just put the phone back. I went to sleep really scared. And now today, I went to my cousin's house and told him what my brother was planning to do, and he told his mom. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm always nice to her, and I don't know why she doesn't like me. I really don't want to move. I have friends here and everything. I thought he loved me and wouldn't make me go back to her. My cousin's mom ended up asking him why he was going to send me to live with my mom, and he asked her how she knew. She said that I told my cousin and he told her. My brother took me back home because he didn't want to cause a scene at my aunt's house. When we got back, he asked me how I knew, and I told him I saw his text message to our mom about how he was sending me away. I was really mad and I was yelling at him. He just tried to hug me and sat down on the couch with his head down, not talking. Then, like 10 minutes later, Julie came. When she came in the living room, she asked what happened, and my brother said she knows. Then Julie tried to talk to me, and I stood up and started yelling that I don't know why she has a problem with me, but I'm his sister, so I'm not leaving. I also called her some names because I was really angry. Then, to my surprise, my brother pushed my shoulder and told me to go to my room. I asked why, and he yelled at me to go to my room. Julie was crying at this point. I went to my room and then I cried. I still think he's going to send me away. I don't know why she doesn't like me. I didn't do anything to her. So, am I the a-hole for yelling at my brother's girlfriend? I told my friends about this, and they said I shouldn't have yelled because she probably has her reasons to want me with my mother. Update number 1. So I went home to talk to my brother, and I wrote a letter to give him like some of you suggested, as I didn't think I could talk without breaking down. The letter basically says that I'm sorry for yelling at you and Julie. I was just scared. There are many things I don't know about my parents and how you have felt about the last 7, maybe even 15 years, but I don't want to go back to my mother, and I don't want to move to another country. I gave him the letter after school, and I didn't see him read it in front of me. I came out of my room a few hours ago after giving it to him and saw him crying in the kitchen. When he saw me, he hugged me and told me he was sorry and loved me and didn't know what to do because Julie wanted to move in and she didn't want to be taking care of me because she's only 24 and wants to live her life. Then Julie also came over and I apologized to her properly. It's been a few hours since then, and he sat me down to talk again, with Julie for some reason. Anyway, he told me that he was just exploring options because I can't live with him forever. Obviously, I knew that, but why doesn't he want me now? What did I do? He also told me that he's booked a ticket for me and him to go to Korea to see my mother, her husband, and their house. I'm fine with that because he's there with me. Then he can't leave me there without me knowing. But he told me he is leaving a little earlier than I am because he has work. I believe that, but I'm also a little suspicious that he's going to leave me there and not take me back. I leave for Korea in 2 days, and I'm staying for 2, maybe, weeks? He is staying for 1. So that's all I have for now, is that I'm going to Korea soon to see my mother for the first time in 7 years. I don't feel happy or sad, I just feel nothing. I feel like I want to die. And here's some clarification because people keep assuming the same questions. I can't stay with my aunt as she has 4 kids already and can't take care of me. I believe my brother has guardianship of me, but I do not know because he doesn't tell me anything. Also, Julie has done many things to me along with the leaving me at school thing. She's fat-shamed me, made fun of me, is always trying to get me out of the house, and always ignores me whenever my brother tries to get us to hang out together. When Julie was trying to talk to me after I found out, she was saying things like, "Please try to understand," and "It's what we think is best for your future and our futures," and "Your brother and I want to move forward, and I don't think we can do it with you." They've only been dating for a year, and she's saying all of this, but whatever. I know my parents both send money to my brother to help with me, but I do not know if it is formal child support. Also, I don't have any friends to stay with either. If my brother didn't take me in, I would have either gone into foster care or my mother would have taken care of me, although she didn't want to, which is why she wasn't the first choice for who would take care of me. My father is in another state with his new wife and family. I'm half Japanese and half Korean. Going to Korea would be hard for me, considering the history. I also have a Japanese name, so it's not like I could hide it. I barely speak Korean, and moving would mess up my whole education. I'm smart in English, not in Korean. If you have any more questions, just ask. I'm going to talk to my school counselor soon, but it might not be before I leave. I still really love my brother, and I don't want him to go to jail or go no contact with him. Update number 2. Hi again. It's been a few days since my last post, and I hope I didn't worry anyone too much. On Friday last week, against what many people advised, I got on the plane to Korea. I don't know if it was because I was too scared to ask for help or speak up, or because I had a large amount of trust in my brother. We arrived on Saturday in Jeju, a Korean island, which is where my mom lives, and we met her husband, and her stepson as well. Her husband is nice, and so is my stepbrother. I spoke to my mother about everything. It's a long story, but after my parents' divorce, she wanted to keep me, but my father told her that taking me to Korea and away from him would be a big mistake, and she felt scared to go against him. I don't know why he would say that and then abandon me as well. I didn't know this, but my dad was kind of abusive. Not physically, though. The reason there was a conversation of me going to Korea was because, obviously, that's what my brother and Julie thought, but also because my mother wanted to see me again. She wanted me to have a place in her family, and she wanted my life to be like a normal 15-year-old, with a parent and a brother who acts like a brother. The ticket is a return ticket, but honestly, I don't know if I want to go back to the USA. I don't want to be where I'm not wanted, aka my house if Julie moves in. I go to a Korean language class every day, so I can improve my Korean if I decide to go to school here. And I think I might. My mom's husband says he will tutor me, and they talked to the school and they said they would adjust some things so I can fit into the school nicely and take exams. My stepbrother helps me with my Korean homework, and we go to the beach together, even though he barely speaks English and I barely speak Korean. Jeju is nice, but they live in a small town, so I barely get Wi-Fi, which is part of the reason it has taken so long for me to update. My brother is still here with me, but is leaving on Friday. His plan now is to come back to Korea to take me back to America so that I know he isn't leaving me here. His plan changed because I told him I was scared he was going to abandon me too. I told him this on the flight, and he got a bit emotional again and told me he would never do that. I want to thank everyone for all the suggestions and advice, but I would rather be here than emancipated or even in America. I don't want to be reminded of my brother if I don't get to stay with him. As for Julie, I haven't spoken to her since I apologized. I don't care what she does anymore. The sad thing is, I could have stayed in America if I fought hard enough, but I'm just so tired. I'm tired of feeling like this, and I'm tired of no one wanting me. I wish I was better. Then maybe they would have kept me. I wish my brother never did this. I don't know why he is abandoning me like this. Anyways, learning Korean is easier than I thought, and staying here is quite fun, honestly. I just wish the circumstances weren't my brother not wanting me anymore. I'm sorry to everyone that I disappointed by not being strong enough to stand my ground and stay in the USA, but I believe that if I stayed, it would have just gotten worse. Lots of people said that I should show that I can help a lot with the baby, and I could, but if one day I'm too tired or just don't want to help, they could just send me right back to Korea. Why would I want to live my life pandering to people who don't want me in the first place? I'm clearly very disposable to them. This won't be my last update. My last one will probably be telling you all if I do stay in Korea. I just want to say once more, thank you all for all of your help. Also, I don't know if Julie is pregnant, and please stop saying that I should give them alone time to bang. I don't want to think about that ever. Bye. Then in the comments section, the verdict on if OP was the a-hole or not was not enough information. Then OP elaborated in the comment section as to why she was using her brother's phone and said, "He always lets me use his phone and go on all the apps, so I don't think it was snooping." Then OP elaborated on her brother's girlfriend Julie and why she didn't like her, and what does OP's brother think of this? When they first started dating, she always ignored me and always wanted me out of my house. Like one time, she made my brother be 2 hours late to picking me up after school because she wanted to be with him alone. They were alone together the whole time. I was at school and he did make that choice, but it's not like she had no part in it. If she wanted to be alone with her boyfriend all the time, she shouldn't have chosen one with all these responsibilities. I wish my brother's life wasn't like this. I wish he could be free and happy, but I didn't choose to live with my brother, did I? Then user 1 commented and said, "Are your parents giving your brother money to help support you?" I think my mom does, because she gets money from my dad to give to my brother, and she also gives her own money, but for the most part, my brother takes care of me with his own money. Then OP elaborated on custody and why she was living with her brother instead of her parents, and why does her mom want her to come live with her. I live with my brother. My mom is in another country and my dad doesn't care about me. Tell me, who am I supposed to go to? Who's gonna pick me up after school if not him? I didn't ask for my brother to take care of me. I'm guessing the reason he did so was because I would have gone to foster care, and he probably thought he would never see me again. I am his responsibility now. He's been taking care of me for 7 years. As for my mom, I don't know why she wants me now. I didn't effing ask him to take care of me. My brother's not an idiot. He knew what taking care of me entailed, and he made that decision. If he didn't want to take me, I would have probably been in foster care. I am very grateful for what he has sacrificed for me. I didn't even say anything that bad to Julie at that time. I completely believed that she was the reason that I was being sent away. What do you want me to say? I'm acting like this on here because every person here seems to have all the sympathy in the world for my brother and Julie. People are mad that I'm talking about me all the time, but what the hell else am I supposed to be talking about? It's fine, I'll just live in Korea just because my brother needs to be happy. I want him to be happy, but I didn't choose this life. He did. He made a sacrifice so he can do whatever he wants now, right? What's the point in taking me in if he doesn't want me here until I'm 18? I was gonna move out then. I'm not trying to hijack his entire life forever, but what else am I supposed to do? I am grateful, but at 15, where am I supposed to go? When I would have turned 18, I would have probably gone to college and left him alone. Literally, what else am I supposed to do except be grateful, which I am? Just because he gave up some of his life for me, I have to move to another country, to a place where I don't even speak the language, just because he deserves to be happy? He does deserve it, and I want him to be happy and free, but I didn't choose him to take care of me. I didn't choose for my parents to abandon me. I wish I wasn't such a burden to him, but tell me, what else am I supposed to do? Am I not allowed to be happy just because he might not be? Update. So, it's been almost a month since I posted on here last, and I thought I would give a final update on this, maybe. If you read my original post and read all of my updates, you can see that I am in Korea right now, and this is where I will probably stay for the rest of my life. I would have updated sooner, but I couldn't bring myself to do anything. I always feel tired, and if I try to do anything, I just end up crying. My brother went back to the USA, and I told him not to come back. So many people told me that it was his turn to live his life, so I let him go. He doesn't have to deal with me anymore. The day he got back, he FaceTimed my mom to try and talk to me as well, but I didn't want to. I couldn't even look at him or listen to his voice without feeling like crying. I'm fixing the relationship with my mom slowly. We go out together and talk. My stepdad is nice too. He always buys me stuff and helps with my Korean homework. So does my stepbrother. I play video games with him, and we play in Korean so I can get better at it. I really miss my brother. If I could go back in time, I would have done anything and everything to make him want to keep me. But I guess he never will. I don't know if I can or will ever see him again. I miss my cousins and family in the USA. I don't care about Julie anymore. She got what she wanted. She has him all to herself for their family. And I hope they have one. A really happy one. And I hope they never abandon their own kids like they abandoned me. Lots of people were calling me spoiled, snotty, and a brat. You can think these things, but I don't care. I really didn't do anything to deserve this, I think. Korean is a lot more easy to learn than I thought. I don't think I'll struggle too much. As for my dad, I don't think I'll ever even talk to him in my life, but it's not like I want to. Also, Julie isn't pregnant. I asked my brother, and I don't know if he was lying or whatever, but he said that she isn't, and they were just thinking about the future. I don't even care anymore. They can literally never talk to me again, and I don't know if I will care in like a year. Hopefully I can move past this, but I just feel like I will be effed up like this forever. I just wish my life was normal, you know? And some people thought I was lying. I wish I was, but I guess my life really is this weird. There's nothing wrong with me either, so I don't know why for more than half of my life, nobody has wanted me. I have some friends here too that I met in Korean school. My brother was a very nice man, and I hope life is very nice to him. He didn't deserve it. I wish I never burdened him. Maybe someday he'll even see this post and read it. So, I really love you, Yukio. I wish you could have been my brother instead of my dad for most of my life. Also, some of you were worried about bullying because I'm Japanese, but we will see once I go to school. Bye-bye. Then in the comment section, one user said, "I am so incredibly sorry for you. My heart breaks. It's very good that you can learn the language. It's very good that you get along with your step-sibling, and it's very good that you don't search for the fault in yourself. You really got dealt a bad hand in life, and please stay strong. Life gets better. I didn't believe it myself at times. I don't believe it still. But I'm at a point in life where I can choose the people that are in my life, and it's so much better now than it ever was. You will meet people who would rather die than live without you, so make sure you're still here when they find you. I wish you all the best. Update number 2. Hey, it's been a while. I've been in Jeju for a while now, and I'm liking it a lot. I'm also learning Korean pretty well. I actually spoke to my brother a few days ago, and it wasn't eventful. He asked me how I was and if Jeju was nice. I told him it was fine, and it was pretty. I spoke to him like I barely knew him, as if I didn't live with him since I was 8, so that made me sad. Him and Julie are still together, but I really don't care anymore about Julie. Like, I really don't even hate her anymore. I just don't care. I guess that's a step in the right direction. People were suggesting therapy, but it's hard to find a therapist here that speaks fluent English. I can't express myself in Korean like I can in English. So going to any random one and using the basic Korean that I know just won't really do me any good, I think. Some people had some random questions that I thought I would answer. My stepbrother is 16, almost 17. I don't really feel that bad towards my mom because she was never bad to me. The only bad thing she ever did was leave me, and I didn't really care that she did before because I had my brother, and she's really trying her best now. She was really depressed in her relationship with my father, which explains the way she acted. The language they speak here in Jeju is different, kind of to Korean, but I've found that nobody speaks it here. As for my brother, will I ever talk to him again? That's something I don't know right now. Whenever I think about him, I get really mad instead of sad now. I wish I never forgave him. I want him to know that I'm really mad at him. But I feel like my emotions are something I can't talk to him about anymore. The way he talks is like he's a really distant family member that your parents force you to talk to on the phone or whenever they call. And they're like, I used to change your diapers, but you have no memory of them ever. It's like that. It's kind of sad because he's my brother, but I guess it's his fault. Also, this next part is kind of sensitive, so I guess I'll put a trigger warning for thoughts of taking your own life. I was walking home from school last week after I went to the beach by myself just to sit there for a little. And to get home from the beach, I walked near this cliff. I don't know if it's really a cliff, but it's high and steep. I was really sad that day, and I kept thinking about home and my brother. I was also feeling really worthless, and like nobody wanted me that day. And I just felt this really weird urge to go to the cliff and jump. Like literally just jump off of it. So I walked towards the edge and then just stood there. I don't even know why I just did. I was genuinely about to jump off, and then I just didn't. I don't know what stopped me, but I'm glad I did because that would have been really stupid. I hope I don't feel like that again because what if I actually do it? Like that just scared me really bad, I don't know. This won't be my last update, I guess. It probably won't be because after the last paragraph, I wouldn't want to worry all of you with me not updating. Some days I'm fine with this, and some days I lay in bed and wish everything was just a dream and I could go back to how it was just a few months ago with my brother. I always wonder how my life and health would be like if this had never happened. Another thing that scares me is that I don't know if I can ever go back to my normal self. When I was 8, I was completely fine when my parents left, but when this happened, I felt like I went crazy for a little. Some days I wish I wasn't alive, and I never used to think like that. I'm always tired, and I haven't slept more than 5 hours in like 2 months. I feel like my brain is different ever since this happened. It's insane. Like, I genuinely think I'm a different person now. Is that weird? So, this story got me a little emotional at times, I'm not gonna lie to you. And like I always say, kind of jokingly, but also somewhat seriously, therapy. And she clearly needs to talk to somebody about what she's got going on because I feel like we see this. This is a 15-year-old girl going through stuff that a 15-year-old girl should not go through. But she's on this island and there's nobody that she can speak to in English who is a professional. She can't express herself in Korean, so she's kind of stuck. I don't know what she can do there. Maybe she needs to talk to her mom. I don't know how far she may need to go to talk to somebody who can really help her. There's also BetterHelp, but I don't really know if they're good. They seem to come up a lot with controversies. But there was also the people calling her a brat and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. I think she was just dealt a bad hand. She's a person, and she does feel like she was cast to the wayside because she kind of was. And at the same time, I kind of understand maybe her brother resenting her because he couldn't live his life and had to take care of his sister, and sometimes doing the good thing thing isn't always the happy thing, but it's still his sister's. I don't know. We don't really know his intentions 100%. But this poor girl, man, I feel for her times 10, and I don't know what she's gonna do. She says she's gonna keep updating, so maybe we'll read about it sometime down the line. But it's an unfortunate mess, and it's not really her fault. Like she kept saying, like, what did she do wrong? Nothing really. She just got dealt a bad hand. But anyway, next story. Story number 5. My friends hurt my boyfriend's feelings, and he is mad at me. I have been with my boyfriend for close over a year now. It has been the best relationship in my life. He is a great person, kind, smart, sweet, etc. The icing on the cake is he's extremely attractive. The only thing I dislike about him is he's kind of a dork, for lack of a better word, but that's okay. I'll take him with me to parties, and it's kind of embarrassing. He will sit back and just be on his phone, and he sees nothing wrong with that. I told him I don't like when he does that. Imagine how it looks on me when my boyfriend is in the back on his phone, and you got other people that are being the life of the party. I'm used to dating very outgoing guys who take the center stage everywhere we go, but he just fades in the background. He might talk to other people who are sitting off to the side or the back. As for his side of the story, he thinks I should have fun without forcing him to be something he's not. He said if someone does care and judges us because of it, they are immature. That he's comfortable hanging out with the other people in the background at parties. He also says I don't force him to be outgoing with his friends. Now, I will say the difference is most people would find his friends weird. Conventionally, they are just weird, and that is okay. I have no problem with his friends, but I'm actually pushing him to do things that would make him cooler. I hate that word, but it's for the lack of a better word. I'm going to show him this post because he makes it seem like what I'm asking for is unreasonable. Edit. By the way, I do love my boyfriend. I'm happy with him, and this is not an issue we need to break up over. I want to marry him one day and have a child with him. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "You can't. If you don't want to date an introvert, don't date one. But what you're asking for just isn't reasonable. It's unkind. He's not hurting anyone. You have to learn what battles in life are worth picking and what battles are not." So, asking him to talk to people is unkind? When I was a kid, my mom would make me speak to people if I didn't want to all the time. That's how you become more outgoing. Then user 2 commented and said, "OP, he's not a child. I want to do something big for my boyfriend's birthday, but he's an introvert. What would be something big that he would appreciate as an introvert? He hates parties and socializing. He plays video games, works out, and loves nature. I thought about buying tickets to Iceland and taking him to hot springs and stuff. Update. So, this is what I was hoping to avoid, but my boyfriend and I are having a great relationship. He's a great partner. Our issues are mainly that he doesn't fit in with my friends, but he says it shouldn't matter, and I agree. We just signed a lease together, and I had a very small housewarming. My boyfriend does a bunch of cosplay and tabletop stuff. He's very introverted, but when one of my friends asked him about his hobbies, he got super excited and showed his cosplay stuff. He ran into the room and grabbed every cosplay thing he could find. They all started laughing at him. I said be nice, and they just piled on him for about 10 minutes. My one friend asked if he got bullied in school, and that's why he joined the military, because he said he was bullied in school. But before he could finish, my one friend interrupted him and said, "We can tell." Afterwards, my boyfriend said he's going to run errands and left. Anyway, he tells me to text him when they leave, and I do. They left after another 2 hours, and he came back and was giving me the cold shoulder. I asked him why, and he said he doesn't like my friends, and I didn't defend him enough, even though I did. I kept telling them to be nice, but they don't listen. Now, he's been decently distant. He only gets social with me when it comes to planning his birthday trip that he is excited about. Now, here are some more relevant comments. User 1 said, "Nowhere here do I see how you defended him. Did you kick these people out? Where is the story about how you told your boyfriend you can't be friends with these people anymore?" I told them they should be nicer while they were ranting and after he left. I can have another talk about how they were terribly disrespectful. I took everyone's advice. I got breakfast with my friends and told them that their behavior was absolutely appalling. They apologized and said they didn't mean it like that. I told them I understand, but it still hurts his feelings. We agreed next time they would be a lot nicer. My boyfriend has been distant still, but I've spent the last couple of days spoiling him like no tomorrow. Then user 2 commented and said, "Did they and you apologize to your boyfriend? He's the one that got hurt here." They will when they see him next. Then user 2 commented again and said, "I don't think he will be thrilled to see them again. Did you two ever sit down and discuss the situation, or are you trying to suppress his trauma with gifts?" I did discuss it with him. He told me last week he felt like I didn't defend him and it hurts his feelings. That's why I made that last post, and this time I took everyone's advice to let my friends know that their behavior will not be tolerated. Then user 2 replied again and said, "Then you need to sit and talk with him again. He has been cold towards you for a week. You mentioned that. A joke does not go for 10 minutes, especially with people that are not friends, especially when they mention his past bullying. They knew what they were doing and now are trying to downplay it. They are his bullies now. This event probably brought him memories from the past, and you were with them. I will talk to him today. He asked if I can cook spaghetti today if he goes to the store and gets the ingredients. He loves how I make his spaghetti. I'm going to talk to him about it over dinner." Then user 3 commented and said, "It's cute that you think there will be a next time when your boyfriend meets up with your friends. I won't force my boyfriend to be around them, but I'm sure they will see each other during my birthday dinner or something like that in the future." And then user 4 commented and said, "I think this person means that your boyfriend definitely has a plan to dump you at this point." So, I am introverted and I'm just getting exhausted reading this woman's post because, oh my goodness. I don't know about you guys, but even as I read the title, this felt like the plights of a younger woman, the complications of a younger couple. Like, I'm in my 20s. I'm still young by all accounts, but this felt like something you would hear from someone who is in their late teens or their early 20s. Like, that's what it sounded like to me. I found the original post. I couldn't find anything in the comments about OP's age or her boyfriend's age, but this kind of sounds like high school stuff to a degree. And introverts also, I just feel like are highly misunderstood at times. But anyway, this girl is not going to change her man. That guy doesn't want to see her friends. She is not 100% satisfied with who he is and his lifestyle choices, and I don't think this relationship's going to work out in the long run. But anyway, next story. Story number 6. My friend, 36F, manipulated me, 28F, into believing my boyfriend, 27M, was having an affair. This is a complicated story, so I will use fake names for everyone. My boyfriend, Tom, my friend, Jess, my boyfriend's friend, Kim, and my tech-savvy friend, Rich. My boyfriend Tom and I have been together for 3 years, and he's been a very affectionate and loving boyfriend during that time. I would have said yes if he proposed to me. Kim is a friend that my boyfriend knows from work. I've always been a little uncomfortable with their relationship, but I never had a reason to believe that Tom and Kim were doing anything behind my back until Jess told me that she saw them at dinner together on a Friday night where Tom told me he was working late. Obviously, I was devastated. Tom is the most stand-up and honest man I know, so I never expected in a million years that he would even lie to me, let alone even have an affair. I didn't believe Jess at first, but then she showed me a blurry photo of the two of them together. I couldn't see either of their faces, but their body figures greatly resembled both of them. I also saw the man wearing a watch. Tom always wears a watch, and Tom's favorite Vineyard Vines tie thrown over his shoulder. I was convinced. Jess told me that if I could get my boyfriend's phone, she'd be able to bypass the password and get all the messages that were on it, even the deleted ones. She gave me a stack of papers that she claimed was correspondence between Tom and Kim, which clearly indicated an affair between the two. Again, I was devastated. The papers showed that he called her the same nickname he called me. That cut really deep. I tried to approach Tom with this information in mind casually. "Do you have anything to tell me?" I said. I tried to be extra affectionate and loving with him throughout this, and he always reciprocated the love, which disgusted me, but gave me hope that he would end his alleged affair with Kim. Every time I jumped through Jess's hoops to check, Jess would tell me that the affair was still ongoing. After 2 weeks, yesterday, I confronted Tom with everything, and unsurprisingly, he denied it. I told him that I was willing to fight for our relationship if he was willing to meet me halfway. Tom continued to deny everything, and he told me that if I didn't believe him, then we had no relationship. I didn't believe him. He slept on the couch and promised me he'd be out of the house by the end of the next week. I was so upset last night, I could not sleep. I cried for a really long time, and Tom heard me crying. He even tried to come in and comfort me, but I cussed him out and told him to leave. This morning, Jess was busy with work, so I went to a tech-savvy friend, Rich, for help with what Jess had done initially. I gave Rich the phone, and he told me that my demands were impossible. He said you cannot bypass the password on my boyfriend's phone, it's a work phone, without deleting the text messages. I teased him about not being as familiar with this stuff as he thought, but he adamantly stuck with his claim. When I showed him the papers that Jess gave me, he told me they were fake, and he proved to me that they were fake by making his own. F my life. I have absolutely no idea what to do and no one to talk to about this. Rich told me he's looking into everything, but I don't know if he'll come up with much. When I came home, Tom was already gone with his stuff, and I have no way of reaching him directly because I'm the one with his phone. I don't know what to do. I don't even know what's really going on in my life anymore. Edit. Lots of questions about this, so I'll try to clarify. I took my boyfriend's phone when he went out for his run since he doesn't listen to music when he's jogging. The runs sort of contributed to my suspicions, but he's been doing this since I've met him. When I confronted my boyfriend, I didn't show him the proof, but I told him I had conclusive evidence, and he said that was impossible. At the time, I thought he was lying. Jess has not replied to any of my voicemails or messages. Now, here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "Did it not ring any alarms when she showed you those messages between them? Didn't you ever wonder how she even got them in the first place?" I gave her the phone. I thought there was software or whatever that lets you do that. It's an iPhone, by the way. Then one user asked OP why she believed her friend over her boyfriend and said, "It wasn't her word over his, it was his word against her evidence." Update. I returned Tom's phone to him and we talked about the situation. I tried to explain everything, but he told me that the trust in our relationship was irreparable and that I need to learn how to effectively communicate my concerns. He's a firm believer that without trust, there is no relationship. So, we've officially split up. He initiated no contact, and I have not spoken with him since. I finally got a hold of Jess through the phone, and she admitted that she lied, but she won't tell me why. I'm sure she has not slept with Tom, but I can't be sure that she isn't trying. I am unbelievably mad right now, mostly at myself. Then in the comments section, one user said, "OP, just to clarify, you are also never talking to this psycho Jess chick again, right? I hope. I want to know why she did this to me." Would you honestly believe her when she explained why? Because I sure as hell wouldn't. Let the crazy go. Then user 2 commented and said, "Why didn't you just dump Jess as a friend? Do you think a liar will magically stay telling the truth? If you didn't get rid of this friend, you're going to have more problems. Go ahead and pretend that hearing her side will give you closure, or that seeing how she hurt you will somehow enlighten her. But in reality, so far, you pushed away your trustworthy boyfriend for your liar friend, and you are keeping the liar." I did dump Jess as a friend. No contact for the both of them. So, Jess is a terrible person. I think we all know that. I don't think we'll ever get her reasoning or her villain origin story as to why. Maybe jealousy? I don't know. There wasn't enough information. But as for OP, yeah, she was lied to and manipulated. But at the same time, she kind of, as the ex-boyfriend said, needs to work on communicating her issues. She was just like, "Do you have something to say to me?" Which isn't a bad way to approach the cheating thing. But if they keep denying it, then maybe you need to provide that evidence. Maybe you need to investigate more. Also, it doesn't seem like she was tech savvy, because the second I read that Jess could somehow get the deleted text messages and unlock her phone, I was like, girl, what? You can't do that. Wasn't there like a thing with the FBI a decade ago about that with an iPhone or something? You can't unlock these phones without the credentials. But OP lost a boyfriend and got rid of a toxic friend, so I guess it kind of evened out. But anyway, next story. Story number 7. Am I the a-hole for overreacting to learning about the true fate of my little sister's remains? My mother and father divorced when I was young. They had an oops baby together after my mom remarried, which rocked the marriage apart. The oops baby was my little sister. She died abruptly in an accident 4 years ago at only 14. You know how people say the firsts after a death are the hardest? They don't account for when there's no first to be had, when they should have been getting ready for prom but never will. It's a completely different pain. My mom and I were talking about it. We were both drinking, and she slipped that my bit of ashes I carry that I thought were my sister's were just regular ashes. Burnt wood. She already poured out my sister's ashes without me or my brother in the plot that she bought with my stepdad. She couldn't fathom my rage, because to her, the sentiment and emotions are the important aspects, not that it's physically my sister. My anger is prompted by the lies and the fact that those sentiments and emotions are attached to something that is not my little sister. And I had no idea she cast her ashes on a plot that she wouldn't have cared about. I screamed at her and told her to get out of my house, locking the door behind her and calling up my stepdad to pick her up. I threw the necklace out the window to the front lawn, then regretted it and tore it out of her hands when she picked it up. As she would say it, I made a scene and embarrassed her. I kept screaming and calling her a liar whenever she tried to explain herself or get back inside. I was threatening to call the cops on her when my stepdad finally showed up and took her away. He called me the next day and left a message saying that he wanted to talk about what happened and how he understands why I'm angry and hurt, but he just wants to talk. But I also need to talk to my mother too about this because she's a grieving mother. And my sister's death was a huge blow to the entire family, and everyone is trying to regain our bearings still, so some kindness is needed. All I can think of right now is my mom's heartbroken face as I ripped my necklace with my sister's ashes out of her hands, or the way she turned away from me crying as my stepdad ushered her into the car. I called her names. I let my pain and rage take over me, but I can't get over the lies. 4 years of thinking my necklace had my sister, of thinking she was right by my heart, and it all came undone because my mom had too much to drink. How long would she have let me think this? How long would the lie continue? Then, in the comment section, one user said, "Yeah, your mother is grieving, but you, her very living child, are too. Having your mother lie to you about something important is going to get an emotional reaction. What you do is up to you." But I wouldn't let her frame this as embarrassing her or that she's a victim in any way. She lied about it. She got drunk and tattled on herself. These are the consequences of her own actions. It was an absolute mistake on her part, and she even said it. We were talking about prom season and how hard it can be to be reminded of things that my sister would have loved. Then she started crying and said, "I start crying before I even reach the cemetery sometimes," and she named it my name. I started flipping then, and I was like, "What cemetery? Why that cemetery?" In a sort of "why are you talking about cemeteries when we're talking about her" kind of way. I kept pushing for an explanation, and that's when the whole thing came out. Update. I gave my mother an ultimatum of either telling my brother and father or I will. She refused to because "you reacted so horribly," and she told me not to tell because "you're doing this to hurt me and you're just going to hurt them." So, I told them. I sat my dad and brother down and explained that the necklaces didn't have the right ashes in them. I have never seen my dad break like that, and I've never heard my brother scream at me like that. He was angry that I knew before him, and didn't immediately tell him because "this is crap you tell me," he said. "You needed to tell me. We tell each other everything." But he started crying and apologizing to me, admitting that he's just so mad about what Mom did, and he can't handle it. So I guess that's clearly something else me and my brother share. We get overwhelmed initially before cooler heads prevail. My dad looked gutted, but he was clearly trying to piece himself back together. He said a lot of the same that other people had said to me on my other post. We can get some of the dirt from the plot where she was scattered. The necklace has the meaning we attribute it to, and she's still with us, even if her body hasn't been physically with us. I feel bad because my mom said some of the same things, i.e. the bit about the necklace being important even without her ashes in it, but I was able to accept it that much easier from my dad. Maybe because he didn't lie to me for 4 years and drop a bomb on me out of nowhere because I pulled apart a lie. He held my brother and I as we cried, and he apologized for the pain, and he said it wasn't fair that I had to be the adult when my mother should have told all of us a lot sooner. My dad is going to try and talk to my stepfather to find the plot because my mom has been refusing to talk to us anymore, not answering messages or picking up the phone. Her social media has even gone dark. He's going to find out where the plot is and go to the site. I don't know if I could if it were up to me. It just feels like this final bit of proof that this effed up nightmare is real, and my sister is mixed with dirt and rocks and grass and an unmaintained and unvisited plot. My mom and I always had some issues, but that's normal. This is worse than anything, and we even had a rough patch when I came out, and we didn't even talk for a bit, but we mended fences after. I can't see myself ever forgiving her. Not with how she dropped this on me, blamed me for my reaction, and left me to do what she should have done. To top it off, she won't even show the decency to explain why or even talk to me. When we were discussing cremation, it was agreed on that we would all get a necklace with the ashes. My mind keeps going over things that just didn't add up fully. Times she almost slipped, or things that make complete sense now. She almost left behind her necklace on a trip and didn't freak out like I would have, because she knew where my sister was the whole time. She volunteered to be the one to separate the ashes and gave my dad the rest. I assume those ashes are the same fakes as ours. God, this whole thing just makes me want to curl up in a hole and never see the light of day again. I've been on and off crying all week without being able to stop, or just so angry I could scream. In the middle of my damn workday, and suddenly I'm rushing to the bathroom to hide the fact that I'm breaking all over again because I can't stop my thoughts. I quit smoking after my sister died, but I picked it right back up again. My dad has been calling me every day to check in on me and remind me how much he loves me and how much my brother loves me. I think he's afraid. My brother has come over each day since the talk with his girlfriend to make sure I eat something. I don't know how to end this post now. I feel lost and like I don't know anything anymore. I feel like a burden because my dad and brother are both dealing with the revelation too, but they're clearly thinking of me and checking in on me. I'm going to look into grief counseling, but the therapist I saw after my sister died isn't practicing anymore, and my insurance isn't accepted by a lot of therapists. I try to remind myself that my little sister wouldn't have minded so much becoming woven into a tapestry of grass and flowers, and that I can visit her once we know where she was cast and make sure her sight is always beautiful. Thank you to everyone that helped me and shared their own perspectives and stories. I really appreciate it. Edit. Some people were asking on the cemetery and if I could confirm that my sister has a plot there. It's my mother and stepfather's plot. If trying through my stepfather fails, I'll try that. I didn't think I could just call up and say, is there an empty plot section for the so-and-so family, but it's worth trying. Man, what do you say about this story? I completely understand where OP's coming from, and I understand the reactions. Like, yeah, people had some knee-jerk kind of outburst reactions, but OP and her brother, as she realized, both kind of need to let their heads prevail. But the mom did something really bad and lied for 4 years and then tried to spin it on OP. That's not good. And even if she is having one of those outburst knee-jerk reactions, that's still not good. None of that is good. Maybe, hopefully, they can talk to the mother and she resurfaces and they can get an explanation as to why she did what she did, because that's terrible. You need some of that closure. And it's, an old wound is being reopened for OP, the father, the brother, the mother too, in a way, and, they're all grieving. I understand the emotional aspect for all of them. It's a tough time, but you lied for 4 years. Grieving or not, you can't do that. That is messed up. But anyway, we are at the end of the video. I know we got the depressing story at the end, but I always try to end on a positive note. So drink water, listen to music, and go find a butterfly. I have not seen a butterfly in a while. Where are they? Where have they gone? Is it a government conspiracy? We will discuss that in the next video. Probably not. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and have a really good day. Bye!